you talk about all the 25 years in like 1998 college basketball. You've told me before that you worked with NHL athletes at 25 years old. Like,
Yeah.
what were the thoughts going through your head, and how do you handle that? And what do you recommend to our listeners now about, their journey or the things that they're going through?
Yeah, spend less time on social media for crying out loud. Like it's not where you guys are going to learn anything. It's so bizarre to me that that is where people are getting information as their first source. I think, and I'm on social media. Like I don't think it's evil, but the best places to learn about training athletes is to be around athletes, ironically. So maybe go to a game, maybe go watch practice, maybe shadow some sport coaches, maybe volunteer your time. I'm actually going to volunteer my time this week. And this is after 25 years of experience for a high school girls team. They're a very good program close to where I live. And I'm going to teach the coaches a whole new way to do a dynamic warm up with basketball players. So it's not boring because dynamic warm ups are painfully boring, right? Because I always used to do different things with the kids that I coached in that particular sport. I also I always tell young coaches, like, coach a sport, like coach, community level, whatever, coach kids. If you can handle like a group of 12-year-olds, I coached my son's flag football team last year, and again, 10 and 11-year-old boys, like holy mackerel, it's like herding cats, right? So if I can handle that, coaching 20 varsity boys is no problem. Textbooks are good sources of info. Everyone goes, oh, I'm going to read textbooks. I'm going to read journal articles, right? Because I'm better than you. Guess what? Textbooks summarize journal articles. I don't know if people need that public service announcement, but I'll be happy to say that. So, and do we really have a lot of new stuff coming out in sports science? No, you and I know that. We've both been coaching for a long time. If you decide to do an ISO velocity based oscillation for your warm up, then good for you. That's awesome. But it doesn't mean that that's going to make that kid better. So there's just it's fascinating to me to see this. And I just sound like an old person, and people are like probably thinking, you know, what does she know, right? But I've trained, I don't know, 5 or 6 world medalists and a few Olympians, tons of pros, every sport imaginable, including things like Sepak Takraw, which people probably have never heard of. It's volleyball with your feet, bro. It is amazing. Have you seen it?
Seen it. I've seen it.
Sick,
It is fucking
sick,
sick.
sick. Like, talk about skill. And another thing, too, is strength and conditioning coaches kind of do need to get over the fact that we maybe have a 25% impact in performance. So
Sport
if
coaches need to fucking hear that too, though.
yes, they do. Yeah, they do. Right. And it's on the kids, and it's really got to be about their experience and about what it means to them. And I've made mistakes. So I'm not here to say, I mean, over 25 years, I've been perfect. I've had relationships fall apart with clients. I've had fights with therapists and, other people, like, pissing matches with other strength and conditioning coaches. I'm not perfect. There's not everything I've done I'm proud of, but I've certainly learned, and I guess that's all I can really say, and then are we going to get to the $1 million question of like what is it like to be a female strength and conditioning coach? Or are we going to talk
I
about
was
that,
I
or
was literally just about to say,
yeah,
like, what I was gonna say, like, listen, but like, okay, go ahead. What is it like? Because I mean, I don't, we're two people. Like, listen, I
I know,
understand that you're a woman, you're
yeah,
also older than me, but it's not like, oh, I'm speaking to an older woman. Right? Like, no, like I'm talking to somebody that has a
a
brain that I'm
colleague,
like, yeah, I'm talking to somebody that I'm like, fuck, Kier talked to you about an ACL, and I loved your ACL, and so you've mentioned it, and these are things that I'm interested in, but like, I'm not like, oh, I want to talk to her because I need to get a woman's perspective on this, but
cool, yeah,
I work with two females in my weight
yeah,
room, and I actually had a conversation with them the other day. One of them was talking about, the staff that she was working with. And I was like, I remembered, because I used to work with that staff. And I was like, I'll tell you what, I felt really uncomfortable being in that office because I was the only man surrounded by, 5 women in an office of all women. And I was just like, it didn't feel comfortable.
Sure.
And the other woman was like, welcome to being a woman in strength and conditioning. And I was like, touche. So go ahead. Floor is yours.
I feel comfortable. Well
Also,
said.
are you a feminist?
Yeah. Oh yes. No, I'm not. I'm not angry enough.
Listen, here's an aside. There's a stand up by, I forget the guy's name, son of a gun. I'm gonna look it up after I'm done saying
Yeah,
this. I
send it
listened
to
to
me.
you talk because he was talking about how he went to a feminist rally and the women were like, we should earn as much as men. He's like, fucking right, you should. Like, you talk about it and I'm gonna look up the name of it. It's called Infamous, and I'll remember the name of
Infamous.
the guy.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead and talk, and I'll look it up.
Yeah. No. What's it like being a female? Or I can't even remember your question, but I
Being a
don't.
female in the
I
field, is
yeah.
it?
I personally don't feel like that. Like the only woman in the room, and I think maybe I'm the weird one. Okay, amongst the females. I have always had a really good time around groups of men. I've had great experiences. Even back in the day when it wasn't as common for there to be female strength and conditioning coaches, like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was given many opportunities. I lived overseas in a Muslim country. They all thought I was a WWF wrestler, mind you, while I was there. But yeah, women there just don't have huge muscles. So they were like, wow, are you? And I just told them I was. And so, yeah, I mean, I've always really enjoyed the locker room type, like within reason, like humor amongst groups of boys. Like I find it quite hilarious. So I think it helps female athletes to have a good sense of humor, or female strength coaches have a good sense of humor. Obviously, and this goes for male strength coaches too, being really familiar with the sport, being athletic yourself, because athletes are physical people. They want to see you, um, they want to see you move, right? And so if you can't move, that's not good. You're gonna lose some credibility, right? It would be like if I were a French teacher, Justin, and I talked like this while I was speaking the French, I would lose credibility. And I'm not being sexist by saying that. It just is what it is. Human beings by nature are judgmental, right? And where would we be though without judgment? Judgment is our way to navigate the world, right? Um, yeah, so I enjoy being a coach, and I enjoy coaching female athletes, male athletes, working with females, working with males. I don't work with a lot of females because I don't know as many in this domain, but I would if need be. It's a non-issue.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.